All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're talking about a massive, fundamental shift happening in commercial real estate. We are going to unpack a brand new playbook for 2026, one that argues the future isn't just about brick and mortar anymore. Nope, it's all about digital resilience, AI, and a completely new way of thinking about leadership. And just to set the stage, let this quote sink in for a second. The source material makes it crystal clear this is not some minor tweak or a new piece of software. This is being called the most profound change in how we value property in decades. We are literally talking about rewriting the entire rulebook. So that's the billion-dollar question, right? It's one thing to say digital transformation, but what does that actually look like day to day for a building, for a portfolio, or for an entire investment company? Well, let's break that down. Okay, first things first, we have to understand the problem. The industry is facing what you could call a digital reckoning. It's forcing everyone to pick a side. And buried inside this shift are some pretty serious risks, with huge consequences for anyone who doesn't adapt fast enough. I mean, just look at the numbers here. It's pretty stark. A huge performance gap is already splitting the market wide open. You've got the digital leaders, the ones who get it, and they're pulling in total returns between 8 to 12%. But then you have the laggards, stuck down at 5 to 7%. And even worse, their net operating income, their core profit, is actually shrinking. This divide is real, and it is only getting wider. Now, one of the biggest hidden dangers here is a concept called algorithmic drift. Think about it like this. You build your entire investment strategy on these super smart AI models. But what happens when those models face something they've never seen before? A true black swan event, like a massive cyber attack or some huge geopolitical shock. All of a sudden, your digital foundation isn't so solid. It's a house of cards waiting for a gust of wind. But here's the flip side. With great risk comes an even greater opportunity. And that brings us to the heart of the solution, a concept that the source calls digital alpha. This is where the smart money is really starting to flow. So, what in the world is digital alpha? Well, alpha is that extra return you get above the market average. Digital alpha is the alpha you generate by doing more than just buying software. It's about embedding technology so deeply into your company that you create what you could call a digital metabolism, an organization that's not only incredibly efficient, but also incredibly resilient. And here's the proof, right here in the numbers. When you achieve this digital alpha, it can lead to 150 to 200 basis points of cap rate compression. Now, for those of us who don't speak fluent real estate finance, that just means investors see your assets as way less risky, so they are willing to pay a much, much higher price for them. That is a game-changing lift in your property values. But look, having a brilliant strategy is only half the battle, right? You can't capture this digital alpha with a leadership team that's stuck in the past. To actually pull this off, you need a completely new kind of leadership, a whole new blueprint for talent. So get a load of this new C-suite dream team. The CEO is now the visionary allocator, who's in charge of governing the AI. You've got the chief digital transformation officer as the architect, the one who orchestrates that whole digital metabolism we were just talking about. And then you get these really cool new roles, like the CTO as a quantum landlord, and this DAM role, the tactical surgeon who stress tests every new deal for digital and cyber risks. Now, out of all these new roles, one really stands out. The source material basically calls the quantum landlord the star of the show, the true unicorn executive. Why? Because this is that incredibly rare person who speaks two languages fluently: real estate finance, cap rates and NAV, and deep technology like AI platforms and data telemetry. And check out the arsenal they're working with. A living digital twin, which is basically a real-time 3D model of the whole portfolio where they can run simulations on anything. They've got an AI outcomes factory that automates tasks and hunts for energy savings. And my favorite, algorithmic arbitrage, using data to find undervalued properties that nobody else can see. They literally find money hiding in the data. So how on earth do you find these people? It's not like they're just hanging out on LinkedIn. And this brings us to the final and maybe the coolest part of this whole solution, a proprietary science used to actually build these teams by decoding their personality DNA. The secret weapon is a tool called Rutherford Intel, and you have to see this number. It claims an 85% accuracy rate in predicting how someone will actually perform on the job. We're talking about taking almost all of the guesswork out of building a world-class leadership team. So how does it work? Well, the system looks at 85 different behavioral traits and then maps a person to one of 12 core personality DNA types. From there, it aligns a leader's natural cognitive wiring with the specific demands of their role. And the ultimate goal? To build teams with diverse ways of thinking. Why? Because that is the perfect human safeguard against that algorithmic drift we talked about. And here's what that looks like in the real world. You create what's called a human-in-the-loop challenge session. You bring in someone with an analytic personality. Their job is to try and break the AI models, to poke holes in them. Then, you pair them with a holistic personality whose job is to make sure the big picture strategy stays on track. It's this beautiful tension that creates the ultimate defense against AI blind spots. Okay, so we've got the problem, algorithmic drift, and we've got this incredibly detailed, human-focused solution. But the big question is always, does it work? What about the money? Let's get to the payoff and look at the hard financial benefits. First up, productivity. When you use this kind of predictive science to put the right people in the right seats, people whose personality DNA is a perfect match for the role, the results are just staggering. We're talking about a 48% leap in productivity. And that huge productivity boost isn't just a nice to have. It flows directly to the bottom line. The analysis finds that teams built with this kind of precision are 25% more profitable. The connection is direct and it is powerful. And finally, for any publicly traded real estate company, this might be the biggest prize of all. This whole strategy helps shrink the net asset value discount by 20 to 25%. In simple terms, the stock market sees that you're digitally resilient and rewards you by closing the gap between your stock price and what your assets are actually worth. That creates an immense amount of value for shareholders. So we'll end on this thought. This digital shift isn't a what if anymore. It's here, and it's being powered by a totally new kind of leadership. The real question this whole analysis leaves us with is the DNA of your leadership team ready for what's coming? Are you built to just survive, or are you built to thrive in this new world?